Sell them to them. Sell them to them.
Yeah, but Lee, that's their fault.
Shabbat line.
The Bothline never fails to make me laugh. Never fails to make me laugh. How is everybody? And welcome to Ramble FC. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is Football Therapy. Love that. Very, very catchy. Bit of an earworm. One of them that now you won't be able to stop singing it, hopefully. And that'll remind you to keep tuning in. So tonight, we are ranking each Championship club's January transfer window. Easy for me to say. I love doing stuff like this because now that we're on Ramble FC and we incorporate more clubs and we go across both the Championship and the Premier League, it's sort of rekindled my thirst for knowledge a little bit in terms of understanding what other teams are about. Because if you don't, I've got proper football as well that I do with Cal and Connor, and if you don't know your stuff, you look a real idiot. So I'm comfortable and confident on Sheffield United that I can at least give an opinion. Whether people think it's daft or not, that's one thing. But I do try now and keep up with the Championship. We're going to be doing a lot more watch-alongs on this channel. We're going to be doing a lot more Premier League watch-alongs as well. We've got 3 coming up over the next few days that aren't Sheffield United related. That starts tomorrow with Jordan Gaz doing Leeds and Nottingham Forest. Then we've got Batman Lou on Sunday with Mark Meldrew doing Liverpool Man City. And then Jordan Gaz are back on Monday to do Everton and Man U. And in between all of that, no, it's not Monday, is it? Oh no, that's further down the line. Because on Monday it's Middlesbrough, Sheffield United that Batman Lou's doing as well. See what I mean? We've got that many coming up. I can't keep up. And to be fair, it's only me that has to keep going and going and going. Jord, wishing him all the best tonight because he's feeling a little under the weather. You'll get rested up, pal. Don't let your blood pressure get too high while you're watching us debating this. If you're shouting at the screen thinking we're making ridiculous calls. Man Mountain has a deserved night off, as I think he's run out of credit in the bank, to be honest, in terms of Mrs. Power. So he's had to come and sort of ease off a little bit, but he will be back before you know it. So there's just the two of us tonight. It's myself and my mate. He's bald. He's brilliant. It's Ali.
Bald and brilliant, that's Ali. Knows the pitch like the back of his knee. No need for hair, he's got strategy. Football genius, yeah. That's Bally.
Now then, pal, how are we doing?
Very well, thank you very much. All good. Yourself?
Yes, very well, mate. Thank you. Very well. I love having Leon because not only is he a great lad and a great crack, he does all the research for us as well. So there is. We've got information. I'm going to be pretty accurate tonight in what I'm talking about. Absolutely.
Or are you?
Yeah.
Have you seen derbies?
I have been caught out by you before, to be honest. Famously, those that were here for the England-Andorra game may know what we're talking about. So before we start, actually, because I'm really looking forward to this, I love assessing where everybody is and what we think is going to happen because it's purely speculative, it's purely opinion-based. Yeah. But I'm going to make a little bit of a mini announcement on Ramble FC, and it pertains to the Blades Ramble. We've got some breaking news. I've spoken to you before about there's certain types of shows that do really well anyway. 90 After 90 is always a really big hit in terms of the interaction and the engagement that we get. Notoriously, Countdown to Kickoff, preview shows in general don't do that well. So we're always looking to improve how we can deliver it. And I've certainly upped the effort level in terms of what I put into it pre-show and stuff like that. But I still want to try and always make each show special and make it better. So I've made the decision for Countdown to Kickoff to make it a little bit more interactive, a little bit more engaging. I'm going to bring on a co-host, and everybody here tonight watching us on Ramble FC, Thank you to everyone for joining us, because I want to drop these little things in every now and again that lets you know that you are getting the inside scoop. It sort of hopefully encourages people to come over more in future. So I have got a new co-host for Countdown to Kickoff who will be joining me, I will say every week, but there's no pressure for them to do that. And let me just let you know what that is right now.
Bold and brilliant, that's our lead. Knows the pitch like the back of his knee. No need for hair, he's got strategy. Football genius, yeah. That's Bally.
That's Bald Lee. Lee is my co-host for Countdown to Kickoff. How's it going, mate? My new co-host.
I thought it was Tony.
No, I always get you two confused.
Oh, yeah, of course you
I
do.
always get you mixed up. So yes, this was another one of those random ideas that I just had today that I thought, it'd be quite good to have a little bit of interaction, more interaction. I feel on Countdown to Kickoff, I do a lot of talking at people and then reading the comments. And it'd be nice to have your opinion on what you feel we can expect from opposition teams, what you think the lineup will be. Does it differ from what I think? Yeah. So it's quite... it's individual led at the moment, and I think this gives us opportunity to open it up a bit. So looking forward to having you on, mate.
Can I just say, I'm very, very impressed at how much research you do before you actually do Countdown to Kickoff, because I've been getting messages today about it. So, you put your son down about not doing any research.
What research is that?
You're asking me questions, weren't you? So
I asked you what your team was, and I asked you what your score prediction was. But thank you for trying to make me sound professional.
Mate. To be fair, sent away here.
No, I know, but to be fair, in terms of prep, I do loads to sort of, all the graphics and stuff like that. There's loads that goes into Countdown to Kick Off. It's probably the most labor-intensive show that we do, but I enjoy it. I like getting geared up for the game, and like we've always said on Ramble and Ramble FC as well, we do shows. Not obviously we want views. We're not sort of saying don't watch us, but we do shows that we enjoy and that we'd want to watch. So all aboard the championship, top 20 takes on Ramble FC. I think they're really good shows.
They are good shows.
Spoken to Lou and Man Mountain. They're like, I know views aren't coming up as quick. Thinking I'll be like, oh, lads, we might have to knock it on the head. Not a chance. As long as they're enjoying it and our core is enjoying it as well, we keep doing it, and hopefully people discover it as they go. So, yeah, that's another little bit of a tidbit of news for people that Lee will be joining us on Countdown to Kick Off tomorrow night, actually, mate, if that works out all right for you.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
That's good stuff. Thank God you said that, because I've announced you now and then I could have been flying solo tomorrow. So, do you want to explain a little bit about what we're doing tonight, pal?
What we're going to do is we're going to have a look through what's happened during the transfer window, each team in the championship, see what they've brought in and also what they've sent out, really, and has it made them stronger? Have they had a good window, or has it actually weakened them? And have they been is it a poor window? Some have brought in more numbers, but have they brought in the quality to cover what they've lost?
Yeah.
Maybe, so we'll see what we think. And it is just our view. And I'm sure me and you will differ on a few. And then, as Brian Clough once said, we'll have a chat and we'll decide I'm right.
I could repeat that to you and then it'd make sense, but it's one of them things. So I think the way we're going to do it, I'd like to get everybody's thoughts in the comments as well. I'd be lying if I said I could definitely keep up with all the comments if we're going to go through every team. There are, of course, 24 teams in the championship. We only usually go for around an hour tonight. Maybe we do spill over from time to time, but we'll try and get as many in as you like. So as we're going through it, if you want to give your opinions on that team's window, because I think what we've decided to do tonight, in fact, I know what we've decided to do tonight, we are grading it. And it's not quite A to E, is it? What are the categories tonight? Lee, there are 5 categories.
There are. We have got excellent, good, average, poor, and awful.
Okay, so that's your parameters for those in the comments that want to get involved. Let's just get through a few before we start. Lou says, evening, lads. Normally, I try not to be biased, but I genuinely think the Blades have had the best window for where we are in the league. The calibre of players signed has been impressive. It speaks to how much our profile and reputation has grown as a club. 20 years ago, we could have been top 3 and wouldn't have had the finances or reputation to pull players like the one we have. Away from United, I think Millwall have done some really smart business. I do fancy them for promotion and wouldn't rule out top 2 just yet. Very solid and consistent performances. Agreed, mate. Will the Plug Socket says, I agree with Lou. I think our window has been great, but I just can't look past Millwall. For me, the signings they've made have combined with the squad they've already got pretty much secured the playoffs, excluding Baz. Dave Morwood says, evening all, a bit of therapy time. Lovely, just what we need after January madness. Like and subscribe, up all the rambles, up the blades, up the positive 6, and me mini blade. Absolutely right. Congratulations again to Dave Morwood, great granddad. Ian says, evening ramblers, almost agree with Lou, but I think Millwall have just shaded our window. I'm more than happy with the business we've done. Up all the rambles, like and subscribe. I agree. I think Millwall have had a superb window, but obviously we'll come to that. Evening all, says Luke. Hey up, how's it going, pal? Says Jamie. It's going well, mate. Thank you. Daz says, evening, gents. Unfortunately, I have to watch it later as I'm watching the Egg Ball tonight as Ireland are playing France in the Six Nations. No problem, pal. Is it just me, or does anyone else think Lee looks like Toby Foster off BBC Radio Sheffield? No offence, bald and brilliant. Wow. Loads take.
I tell you what, I'm going like this though, Will. I started high with Tony, and I'm just going lower and lower.
It'll be Les Dawson soon. Evening, gents. Looking forward to this one. Some interesting transfers this January, says Thom. Kalvin Phillips, end of chat, says Mark Meldrew. That's baldly. Lovely sunny day in Victoria, British Columbia, says Josh. Let's have a little controversy here, gents. You may think it's controversial. No worries about that. Raymondo says, evening, lads. You both look great. Thank you. A bit like our transfer window. Ipswich done well with getting Neil and Wendy's, getting Yates didn't laugh. James says, do you think Leicester have got away with lightly with 6 points? We may come to that when we discuss their window, pal. Evening, lads. Have you done Derby yet? No, Paul. We're just getting started, pal. And Mark Meldrew says, put a dicky bow on Lee and he's Frank Butcher. Mark Meldrew, absolutely outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. Yeah, I know. I was going to say don't bite there, but you've gone straight in for Alan Carr, haven't you?
I've got to, Anna.
He prefers Paul Eaton.
He's been messaging me all day to give him information for train to go down to QPR, and then does that to me. I'm glad I've told him wrong train.
Right then, mate. Shall we get cracking?
Yeah, why not? Shall I bring this onto the stage? Let's do that. So here we are. So I think we start doing. We'll go through ABC again, shall we, Jim? Birmingham.
Yeah, good with
so
that,
let's
mate.
have a look at Birmingham. So let's bring up my information. Can you see me moving still? Because I got froze last time.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. I can see you moving, mate.
Happy days. So, Birmingham City, they've got a deficit of 15.6 million euros this window. They brought in Calvin Vicente from Alaves, who's just a lower league. Well, he was a lower league left back, really. Had one good season and they brought him through there. Patrick Roberts, who we know is a really good player at Sunderland on his day. Kai Wagner, I don't know much about him, I've got to be honest. Prisk was top scorer in Sweden last season. Panzo played all the way through for England youth systems. It's played over here a few times and then gone over
Coventry,
to yeah, he was at Coventry on loan from somewhere. I can't think. Or in Brentford. I think it was Brentford. And he came back to resurrect his career, really. He's not really gone on so well. I don't really know much about Solis or Osman, who they brought in as well from Girona and Brighton.
Brighton's never a bad shout, is it?
Sorry? Brighton,
Brighton's
no.
never a bad shout.
That Ibrahim Osman, I think they paid something like 16 million quid for him. So he's not going to be no rubbish player really if they're spending that much money. But it's on their outs. They've got rid of some decent players and some, they've got some lads who aren't really going to feature much for them, like Lyndon Dykes, Dion Sanderson, who's gone to Derby, Emil Hansen, who's gone back over to Holland. I know he's Swedish, but he's gone to Holland again. Peacock Farrell, ex-Wednesday player, has gone out to Blackpool. And then people like Tyler Roberts has gone to Mansfield, Alfie Chang gone to Walsall. So they're clearing the decks a little bit, but also they've lost. Lewis Koumas has gone back to Liverpool, but then gone back out. Yeah. Keshi Anderson's got released, gone to Portsmouth, who we'll come to in a bit. And Iron Cashin, who I know me and you both liked when he was at Derby.
Yep.
He looked heavy, didn't he, when he came with Birmingham?
Very heavy, looked out of sorts completely. So,
and I don't know whether he's been sent back or Brighton recalled him because of his lack of game time. So, they've done well to get rid of a lot of players that aren't going to play. And the players they brought in, apart from the guy Prisk from Djurgården, and I would say Patrick Roberts on his day, I don't know. I think it's a decent window for him, but more for what they've got out the door than what they brought in.
Completely agree. Completely agree. I really like the business, the out business. You look at players like Peacock Farrell, Tyler Roberts, Lyndon Dykes, Dion Sanderson. They're not top-end championship, and that's where Birmingham are wanting to be. Lewis Kumas, I don't particularly rate as a player. I know he's gone back out on loan, but Keshi Anderson, thought he was useless when he came to the lane. I've never rated him as a player, really. He's gone further down the league, understandably. Mark Leonard, who's a young lad with a decent reputation, has only gone out on loan, so he can maybe retain some value for him or even come back and get involved again. I think the outs are really smart business for Birmingham. The only thing that's stopping me from going immediately to good is the fact that I don't know much about the ins other than Patrick Roberts, who I do rate, and we had a bit of a back and forth about this on Proper Football. I don't think that episode's been released yet, because they had a pop at me for saying, I thought Patrick Roberts were overrated. I do think he's slightly overrated, but it doesn't mean I don't think he's a very good player, if that makes sense. So the other huge asterisk for me is the huge spend. So not that they can't do it, but does that, it makes it slightly less impressive for me in terms of the business that they've done. So I would be happy with either a good or an average for Birmingham here, mate. I'll let you make the call.
I've actually ranked them as a good. And like I say, they've
right
brought in decent players, but what they've done, they've got rid of, well, not got rid of, but got out players that they needed
at a lower level.
Yeah, and Mark Leonard, I think they still fancy him. I think he'll come back and be a good player for him. He just needs to play. So are you happy if we go with Birmingham to good then, Jim?
Yeah, let's do that. I think we can always argue whether it's a good window.
Yeah, I agree. So Blackburn, do you want to do it with Blackburn? Do you want to take Blackburn?
Yeah.
They've not really done much, have they?
No, they've not. It's been fairly quiet for Blackburn. Who are in trouble as well. They've obviously got rid of their manager in the window, Valerian Ishmael. No permanent appointment yet. It's rumoured that they're scrambling around a little bit to find somebody suitable. They've brought in Matthias Jorgensen for £3.5 million from Bodo Glimt. They brought in Afolayan from Sao Paulo. I can see why you've done this to me. They've loaned in Iron Cashin, who had his loan terminated at Birmingham because he was underperforming at Birmingham from what we could see. I didn't see every game, obviously, but from what we saw. And he will get a game at Blackburn, but he's not been playing very well this season, which is a shame because, like we've said, I do think there's a player. There's been two players come back to them that were loaned out. Jack Barrett was at Tranmere. Conor O'Riordan was at Donny, and they've both returned to Blackburn's squad. And in terms of outs, they've got rid of Maktar Gueye, who I think was the big striker, wasn't he, to Shanghai Shenhua. And Jake Batty's gone out to Swindon, who I don't know much about or anything about, if I'm completely honest. They are also in a negative spend, so they've speculated, they've spent some money on, particularly on Jorgensen. Don't know enough about him, in all honesty, to tell you where I think it lies. I think Cashin is an upgrade probably to what they've got if you go on past reputation, but I'm not impressed on what I saw from him this season. It's no better than average for me. You could even say it's poor due to inactivity. Particularly considering the position that they're in. Doesn't mean they have to particularly spend a lot of money, but we've seen what can be done on free transfers and loans, and they've just been too inactive for me. I'd be leaning towards a poor, really. What about you, pal?
Yeah, Jorgensen, he's a winger that they brought in from Bodo Glimt, and I know very little about him. There's not been much said about him, so it's a bit out of the blue. Olafayan's played in the Bundesliga, but he's only played League One in England before. He's been over here, but he didn't get any higher than League One. Cashin is a good player, but at the moment he's not been playing well. I think he scored on his debut for him though the other day. Cashin, I'm not sure. I'm sure he did. But I think it's awful. I think it's very poor for a club in the situation they're in. It's as if they've given up and they're just going to try and battle it as they are. I mean, I know they're struggling for investment from. Are they still with the Venkies? I think it's the Venkies.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And, they're in a bit of trouble down there. And I just think it's a lack of ambition to get out of it. I think it's awful.
I'm good with that. I think you're being a bit more extreme with me in some of these, but yeah, that's absolutely fine. I think it's probably fair to say as well. You can certainly argue it.
Do you want to go awful, or would you like to? Shall we go a bit more mellow on them and go poor?
No, stick them in awful.
Yeah,
and then if we feel it's a little bit harsh after we rank other teams, we can always rejig.
Yeah, so no problem.
Fair to do.
So shall I take Bristol?
Yeah, over to you, pal.
Okay, Bristol City. What they've done, they brought in a young kid called Renell Young from Liverpool. They brought in Tommy Horvat from Sturm Graz.
Yeah.
Noah Ellie from New York Red Bulls, who I haven't got a clue about, and Sam Morsey on a free, who was a very good midfielder. Whether he's still at that level is yet to be
Exactly.
seen after he'd have 2 years over in Saudi, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it was certainly
but-
at least 18 months, weren't it?
Yeah. They brought in George Athey on loan from West Ham, who's a talented
Yeah,
young lad.
like him.
Bergzog from Middlesbrough, who we know on his day is a very, very good footballer, but also he's very hot and cold. And Seb Naylor, a young kid on loan from Man City, who I couldn't really find much about. So, you know, it's, what would I say about their incomings? I would say it's average. It's not blowing me away. There's a couple of good players in there, but it's youth. They're looking at young players and maybe looking towards the future more than anything else. But the thing that hurts them and hurts them bad is who they've let go. They've let Mehmeti go. Max O'Leary, the goalkeeper's gone. Zach Viner, the centre-half's gone. They've also got rid of Aidan Roberts. They've got rid of Yu Hirakawa on loan to Hull.
Yep.
You know, these
Crazy.
are good players, good championship footballers they've let out. And again, this is one of them that the outgoings are better or look better than what they brought in.
I agree. I'd be fuming if I'm a Bristol City fan, because not only have they not particularly improved their squad, you're exactly right with Sam Morsey. When players get to his age, it's an unknown quantity. It doesn't mean he's a bad player at all. He's obviously still got he'll have the odd few performances in him, but how has he kept to those levels when he was like pulling the strings for Ipswich 2 years ago? This is what we're talking about 2 years ago, and he's 34 now, something like that. So he's not been playing at the top level in terms of he's been abroad in Saudi. Earthy is a good player. I like him, but he's not one to necessarily pull up any trees.
What I like about him though, Jim, when he plants his foot in floor, he can go, can't he?
Yeah, nice. We'll get a few more of them in. Bergzog, not a bad player. I think he shows flashes, but he's not very consistent, in all honesty. The outs has really hurt him. And what I'm going to say about Bristol City as well is, obviously, I do a bit with Cal Fowler, who had their manager Struber at Barnsley. And what he said was, he was one of the best managers they have ever had. And because the club showed a lack of ambition, he walked. And that was one of his big reasons for leaving. And he fears that this will be the same for Bristol City, that the club are not showing enough ambition to push on. And that may see them lose one of the best coaches they will have in some time. Mehmeti going, you can understand the business behind it. They've sold him for £3 million because he's got 6 months left on his contract. But you're trying to get into playoffs. How much is £3 million worth to you when it could be 120 million if you get to where you need to be? Or if it's 250 grand per position in championship or whatever it might be, you can do the maths and think it might be worth keeping your best player. Zach Viner, £1.5 million to Wrexham. Where's the ambition? Where's the ambition for keeping hold of your strong young players? He could be worth 5 million in a couple of years' time. Might not be, but he's known to be a good young defender at the level. And they've let him go to a promotion rival. I think it's been poor from Bristol City. I wouldn't quite say it's awful, because there are some good players coming. Brad Seppo, mate, to be honest.
I'm exactly with you, Paul. That's what I rated him at. So I'm happy to do that, Jim. Not a problem.
Nice one. Right, well, I'll move on to Charlton then. Okay, so I think this might just paper over the cracks a little bit with their window. I think I'm going to go early and I'm going to say I think it's pretty average. They brought in Lyndon Dykes, so I think he's a good signing for a scrappy side like Charlton, who are very well disciplined at the back and like to tighten up and keep things defensively regimented. It's a good striker to knock the ball up to, who can hold the ball up well, and he's a nuisance. He's not particularly a great goal scorer, but he can hold the line well. He can be a lone striker, and I think it's a very understandable and probably a very good fit for Charlton is Lyndon Dykes. The other two that stand out for me is Harry Clark, who I don't particularly rate, certainly as a top-level championship player, because we had him on loan at Sheffield United last season, so we had a good look at him. It doesn't mean to say he can't do a job for a bottom-end championship team, and I don't mean that in any sort of disrespectful way to Charlton, but he's not a terrible player at the level. I just think he's average. An average championship player would probably be the way that I'd define him. Connor Cody's a really interesting one for me. I think he could also fall into the Sam Morsey category, where he's come on reputation rather than recent performances. So he's come from Wrexham, and I don't know how many games he got at Wrexham, but it certainly wasn't a lot. He'd been at Leicester before that, wasn't really getting in the side, and we've seen how poor Leicester are defensively and overall, to be honest. So I think Connor Cody could be a good player. Another ex-Sheffield United player who we really liked in his younger days, has certainly been a very good player in his time, but where are his levels currently? We don't know, is the honest answer. In terms of outs, don't know enough about the Charlton fringe players to tell you whether that's anything, but it looks just like it's younger players going out to the lower leagues. So no real major outs. They haven't lost any of the star men, but they have invested a little bit. Average for me. I think they've probably just about done enough to give them a fighting chance of pulling clear. What would you say, Lee?
Yeah, I think exactly that. It's very average. But what they have done is they've brought leadership in, which, Lyndon Dykes leads the line well and will be a target. And they've got some good pace down the side, so that's going to work from there. Cody's a definite captain. He's a leader at the back. He's very loud. You can hear him all the time when he's playing. Exactly what you said about Clark. He's just a bang average right back in this division. But that's probably what they need. I mean, they had James Bree, who's a very good right back in this league. So it is a drop-off. But I think they've just done all right. And, it gives them a chance. I think what they brought in gives them a chance. Yeah. Of solidifying and staying in this division. And that's their aim, isn't it? That's all they're after this season. Agreed. So to me, I just think it's an average window that gives them a chance.
Fair, mate. Fair. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Paul says, guys, there's 67 watching and only 19 likes. Please hit the like button, subscribe and share. Thank you, my mate. Luke says, it has been released. KP at number 1, Jimmy. Correct. Get watching proper football. Birmingham's was good, says James. He agrees with us. Cashin scored against the dark side. Paul says, Cashin's a great player. Derby should have kept him. He certainly was a great player at Derby, Paul. A lot of us liked him, and I know you'll have fond memories of him as a Derby fan. But he's not been playing well since he's moved, not necessarily to Brighton, but since he's gone out on loan to the Championship, it's not gone well for him. Paul says, great stream, lads. Up the blades, up the ramble. Thank you, my mate. Simon says, 6-point deduction for Leicester. Glad it's over. I bet you are, pal. We'll come to that when we do Leicester's assessment. Bristol City's poor based on the outgoing, says James. Derby selling cash in allowed us to buy Aguiman and other players to rebuild the squad. It made sense at the time. Lou says, Bristol City is really difficult to gauge, lads. They operate on a tight budget. Earthy and Bergzog improved them. Losing Viner and Mehmeti are minuses, though. They're not a boom or bust club. Always trying to balance the books in South Bristol. Fair enough, mate. Dave, I think, gives Birmingham an A. Mr. Ramtastic says, transfer window's closed. Ajiman, when we do sell him, we'll go for a lot more than we bought him for, as will Zetterstrom. I agree with that. We'll get to Derby, don't worry, lads. They've signed Isle from New York Red Bulls and Horvat, who are unknowns. Charlton are average, says James. Yeah. Cody only played 5 games for Disney FC, says Luke. That's what we're saying, isn't it? And Paul says, we had a good window. It was all the owners. It was good that the owners backed Gaffer Tufty. Yeah, we'll get to that as well, Paul. Who's up next then, Lee?
Coventry City.
Coventry. Right, okay.
And they've spent 5 million. They're 5 million in deficit on it. But I like what they've done. I like what they've brought in.
I do.
SA is a very good player that they brought in on loan from Crystal Palace. Yep. Onyeka, a good solid midfielder, strong, physical. Min Hook from Spurs is the young Korean boy who they rate very highly. Yeah. I don't know anything about the FC Zurich boy. I think he's a winger as well, Jono Markelo.
Don't know anything
about him. I'm a bit lost on him. But they've only really lost Bassett, who's gone back on loan. He was on loan at the beginning of the season. He's gone back out to Kaiserslautern. And a lad called Justin Abiku, who I don't know anything about, who's gone to QPR. So they've strengthened, and they've strengthened well. They're a good side, and what they brought in makes them stronger. So for me, it's a good window.
Completely agree. I think it's a good window. You could say it's excellent, but I don't know if they've been active enough to say that. Not that you always have to be active to make it an excellent window. Sometimes it can be keeping hold of your star men and stuff like that, and they've clearly done that as well. SA, most of the Championship would have taken Remain SA. Yeah. We're on Sheffield United's list, as we know, but Coventry have got higher pickings than Sheffield United because of the way they performed this season. So fair play. Onyeka, another one. Sheffield United were known to be in discussions with him. He's chosen Coventry, and why wouldn't he? Why would he not? And that's the way things are, and it depends how your season's going with these January signings. Yang Min Hyuk, who was on loan at Portsmouth, I believe, last year, he also attracted interest from Sheffield United in the summer. So I can't remember whether it was this summer or summer before. But yeah, he's another one that Sheffield United have had. So all three loan signings, I'm pretty familiar with because obviously we were sniffing around, and I think they're really good deals. 5 million deficit, but they're much stronger for it. And I'd say it's a good window for Cov.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you just said there, Jim. They didn't do much business, but they did good business, and they filled holes they needed. You know, and that's all you need to do in this January window, isn't it? You know, they've done it well. So for me, it's good as well. That's exactly what I had about.
Nice one, mate. Nice one.
Right, so Derby County, mate.
Right. Okay. So first up, they've signed Derry Merkin from Utrecht. I believe he's a left back. Dion Sanderson from Birmingham, who I think he's pretty average, but John Eustace clearly loves because he's taking him everywhere. They've also signed Derry Merkin from Utrecht. I believe he's a left back. They've signed Oscar. Oh, do you know what? I didn't even read 3 and 5, and you've done the exact same joke as I were about to do anyway. So I was just going to read Derry Merkin 3 times. I didn't even realise you'd actually done it. So I went to the next one, and it were him again. So, yeah, lovely. If you've seen our deadline day stream, you will understand what that joke is about. Oscar Fraulo from Borussia Mönchengladbach. Nice. I noticed how you didn't put the full word in there, mate. No, I don't blame you at all.
It didn't fit in the table on Excel, on Word doc.
Jaden Bannell on loan from Burnley, who's a bit of a big splash, really, but the headline maker for most, just because of familiarity and certainly at the level, is Sammy Smodics on loan from Ipswich. I think that there's some really good business from Derby there. In terms of outs, Curtis Nelson has gone to MK Dons. Ibu Adams has gone to Portsmouth in what I found quite a surprising move because I like him as a player. Caden Jackson's gone to Bradford. Owen Beck's gone back. It's the end of his loan from Liverpool. And the rest are sort of going to lower league teams. It's younger lads going to lower league teams. But I'm not sure about it. Obviously, Ibu Adams wasn't nailing down a regular first team place. Derby are going really well in the Championship at the moment. We called him a dark horse a few weeks ago, and they're up to 7th already. So they've got a real chance here. Their front line now of Adjaman, Carlton Morris when fit, and Sammy Smodics is a little bit intimidating for most Championship sides. So I think they've done some really solid business here, and it's certainly a good for me, Lee. Whereabouts do you put them?
Well, I think it's a good side with a good manager doing good business. You know, I just like what they've done. Looking at Merkin, we don't know much about him, but obviously they had 3 goals at him, so he must be decent. Sanderson,
done.
Sanderson is a good centre half, a really good centre. And we had a look at him, didn't we, other year as well? Sheffield United had a look at Dion Sanderson.
Yeah, we did.
A
couple of times,
I think. Good player. I don't know anything about Fraulo, but Smodic, not really worked for him at Ipswich, but we know he's a really, really good forward. He's a clever forward as well. You know, he don't rely on great pace, although he's not slow. He's just a really good footballer. And I think Derby, because they've not really had anybody go out, apart from Adams, who I really like. And it surprised me that they've let him go because he does that role that people don't like to do. But if he's the only one that you can really say that they've let go to bring in what they brought in, I think it's a very good window. So I'm good. I'm at good with Derby.
We'll go with that, mate. We'll go with that. Hull, then, mate.
Hull, right? Yeah. So Hull. They brought in Kieran Dowell, who also has played for Sheffield United, so we know what Kieran Dowell's about.
Kieran Dowell, down.
Exactly. Not done wonders up in Rangers, done enough. Again, for us, didn't do wonders, did enough. He were one of them that were on the fringe of the team a lot of the time.
I think he's okay.
I don't know anything. Sorry?
I think he's okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, he's just all right, isn't he? A Championship all right player. Yeah. Bio, I know nothing about at all. Paddy McNair, maybe he's on the wrong side of his career at the moment, but liked him a lot as a centre-half. Really good player, good leader. It's a good signing, a really good signing. Hirakawa, good player from Bristol City. Again, why have they let him go? It's very strange. Collier, a good player from Man United, really highly rated.
Yeah.
Didn't have a good first half of the season, to be honest. They've called him back and sent him back out on loan
West Brom,
elsewhere.
weren't it? Were it West Brom?
Yeah, did not do very well there at all. But more about the situation than the player, I believe.
Yeah, and they rate him highly, don't they?
They really do rate him highly, yeah. And then Lewis
As
Kumas.
you would know.
I don't know anything about him, to be honest.
Do you
Yeah.
not?
Anyway,
Okay.
Lewis Kumas, who me and you differ on, because I think he's quite a good player. I think he's got a big future, and you don't actually see it. So
No.
we're a bit of loggerheads with that. So they've brought in some good players, and Hull are doing good business. And when you look at what they've let go, there's only Casey Palmer that really you'd say, oh, yeah, I know him. You know, I've seen him play. Brandon Williams has been lost for about 2 or 3 years in the wilderness. This is a kid that came through at Man United and played right back, played left back, looked a real player, scored against us in the 3-3. Really, really good prospect. And then had personal issues.
Fell out of love with the game, didn't he, I think?
Fell out, yeah. And they've tried to give him a chance to come back, and it's just not worked. But I think, for me, I would give Hull an average. I think they've done all right. They've solidified the squad. How many of those players are going to go straight in and make a difference for their team?
Correct. That is exactly where I was, because I thought you were leaning towards good then, and I was going to push back on it.
No.
Because how many of these players directly affect the first team? I don't even think
Exactly.
Collier comes in and commands a first team place. We have to acknowledge that they are doing very well as well. So it's going to be hard for Hull, who have got no, they're under an embargo, we can't forget. So they can't bring anybody in for money. They can't really bring anybody in, or they'll really struggle to bring someone in at this time of year, the most difficult window to work in, unable to spend any money. How can they affect the first team directly? Well, I think what they've done, exactly as you said, is they've padded out the squad, and they've now got some decent options from the bench, and it just gives them a little bit more depth. So I think it's an average window. It doesn't significantly improve them, but I don't think they'll complain with it at all either. So I think the fans will understand the position they're in and hope that this squad strengthening will be able to see them through a tricky last third of the season.
Okay, let's push on to Ipswich.
Now, this could be filling our last void for me. This, because I think they've done some phenomenal business in terms of both ins and outs. You look at Anis Mehmeti coming in for £3 million from Bristol City. They've also signed Ryan Doherty from Stevenage, who's a young teenage prospect that's been sought after from much of the Championship. Dan Neil could potentially be a bit of a game-changing loan for them. And I don't know much about Frankie Runham from Chelsea. The outs, Cameron Humphreys, Henry Gray, Harry Clark, all going to teams lower down the pyramid. Obviously, Charlton are in the same league. Sammy Smodics to Derby is a bit of an eyebrow raiser for me. I don't know whether it's a FFP move, because I know at one point they were discussing on transfer deadline day a sale of Sammy Smodics. Yeah. Don't know whether he's on big wages that they needed to sort of maybe move him out if they were going to try and. I don't think money's an issue for Ipswich, but I think probably balancing the books with FFP might be at some stage, because they're bringing in some real quality in depth. So it's getting to the point, and we discussed this again on Proper Football, that if Kieran McKenna doesn't get promoted with Ipswich, I don't fear for them financially, but I think it could be seen as a failure because of the level of player that they're dealing with. Their squad, for me, by far and away is the best in the division, and they've only strengthened it here. Anis Mehmeti, Bristol City's best player. I think it's probably widely acknowledged, obviously since Semenyo left, but Mehmeti's the main boy now, and they've nicked him from a promotion rival. And Dan Neil, again, sought after by most of the champion. And the irony is, Dan Neil gets in most of the Championship sides. I think he probably is a rotation option for Ipswich. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they keep everybody happy, and how they rotate the squad around, and how they utilize the quality that they've got in terms of the options. But they're one of those sides that could have an off day at the office and they make 5 changes and completely change the game. So you can't look, if you finish above Ipswich, you're getting automatically promoted. And I think they've had an excellent window for me.
I think it's good. I don't think it's excellent. I think they brought in some good quality. And what you were saying about Smodic, there were that many clubs after him when he did go to Ipswich. I bet he's on a wedge. I bet he's on a really good, good wage. So they've had to get him off the books. But I think they need a centre forward. I think that's the one thing that they really need is a striker, and they've not done it. and I would probably have sacrificed Dan Neil to bring in a striker.
Who's
That's
the
my
striker that's
personal view.
available, though? Who is the striker that's available in January that they could have gone and got?
Well, they've got better
Sometimes they're
scouting
just
than
not
what
there,
we've
are they?
got. Yeah, true. But there'd be somebody they could get out of somewhere.
Well, they were
Definitely,
looking at
must have
Bamford,
been
weren't they? They were trying to have a sniff with Bamford.
They were, yeah, they were. So they know there's a need. They've definitely got a need, and I think the fact they haven't fulfilled that is, for me, it's a good window, and I think it is a good window for them.
The other thing they were trying to do was get Femi Aziz out of Millwall, which is
No, that would have been an excellent window.
I just think the cheek of going to somebody who's one place below you in the promotion race and saying is over 12 million quid, because it was deemed to be turned down at what would have been a record-breaking deal from Millwall. So we know it was more than 12.25. Rumored to be around 15. Millwall, fair play to Millwall, saying no, we're not doing it. So that shows ambition from them as well. I'm pushing for excellent for this, mate. I think they have further strengthened the strongest squad in the league, and I can't see past an excellent. Like it's up to, in fact, we'll let the chat decide. The next person to comment in the chat, whether it's excellent or good, that is the way it goes. Finn's the latest comment. He's saying, "Oh, you're right, Jimmy. As our lead has been removed faster than Bonnie Blue." Well, we won't read that out. Phillips, Sky Blues. So the next person to comment, whether it's excellent or good, that will be where it's good. Danny says it's good, so we're with you, Lee. We'll go it. Cheers, Danny.
We've got to be strict, Jim. We've got to be strict, surely.
Yeah, okay, I'm good with that.
So it's me, is it, with Leicester?
On to you with Leicester. Now we have to have a little bit of time to acknowledge Leicester's 6-point deduction. How do you think it affects the season, mate? They are now, I think they've dropped to 32 points, which puts them 20th. It might be 20th, but level on points with 20th, 21st, and 22nd. So what do we think now, mate?
I think they've got off very lightly, don't you?
Yeah.
When there's been talk of 12, 15 points, they've been given 6. There's rumours that there could be more ongoing because there's more financial irregularities. But I can't really say that there is. I don't know for sure. But I think 6 points is it's very light. I don't think they're going to go down. I think 15 points might get them a big problem. 6 is not going to see them go. They've got too many good players. But big club. I don't know. I'm not going to say there's a bias towards them because I don't think there is. But it just seems light. It just really seems light.
I don't think it's a bias towards Leicester. I think it's a bottle job from those in power, because we see this so often that Sheffield Wednesday will get if they can, they'll get a points deduction this season for any further irregularities, so that it's not deemed controversial next year when they start a season in League One on a minus deficit. They try and go for the path of least resistance every time. If they'd have given Leicester 12 points, they could have faced an appeal process and all sorts of things, because it automatically puts Leicester in the relegation zone and really fighting for their lives. So I think they've gone with the easiest path of least resistance, and it's just a bit of a weak mentality for me for the higher ups that are. So they can be seen to doing a little bit. Yes, they are enforcing the rules, but Leicester have still got a fighting chance of survival. And like you say, I'm with you. I think they have too many good players not to pull away. Although they are struggling. So
I think if you're a Leicester, if you work for Leicester in the hierarchy up there, and you get told you're getting 6 points, you shake their hand and you say thank you very much, and you carry on with your business.
I think that's what they've done. I think that's what they must have done. Run away. Exactly.
So let's have a look at the business. Well, they've spent note, obviously, because they've got note.
Correct.
They've got rid of Boubacar Samare, who was in the top 10 highest earners in the league. Exactly. They've got something like six of the top 10 earners in the league playing for Leicester. So he's gone out, and then it's just Wout Faes. They've got him out on loan from Monaco. He's not a great defender in my eyes. And then the rest are just kids that's gone out. What they brought in, though, is on a permanent is Jamal Lascelles, who, when he can stay fit, is an excellent centre-half. He's not the most mobile anymore, but he's an excellent centre-half.
He's a Morsey for me, a Morsey and a Cody.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think we've seen enough recently to say what level he'll return at. And that doesn't mean he can't return at a high level, because he could really be a a difference maker for that. We could have said exactly the same about Patrick Bamford, and he's coming to Sheffield United and been excellent. So it doesn't mean that Lascelles won't be the leader at the back that they need. He could well be, but there's still a level of risk to it in terms of it might be another, player on the way down that just can't get back to the same heights as he once was.
I would say that the big worry is you're going to be paying him decent wages and his fitness is poor, and you're going to have to keep paying him.
Yeah.
They've also brought in a Rebo who's not done very well at Southampton. I was reading that the Southampton fans were loving the fact they've got rid of him. Mukasa on loan from Man City, a young kid, and Dujon Richards, a striker from Chelsea, a young kid. So it just shows what Leicester are struggling, how they are struggling with money. This is a club that won the Premier League less than 10 years ago. And now they're down to bringing in young kids from Man City and Chelsea to pad out what is now not a thick, deep squad anymore, but a very expensive squad. And for me, it's an average to poor window.
I'd say it's a poor window for me. I think Lascelles considerably raises it from being an awful window.
Yeah.
But I think the Sharks are going to be circling around Leicester, to be honest, whether they go down or not, because everybody knows they're potless. Sheffield United, we know, are big fans of Harry Souttar and Hamza Chowdhury. Wouldn't surprise me at all to see us having a sniff around them. There's other assets that Leicester will be keen to offload. Oliver Skipp and Harry Winks on these ridiculously high wages.
90 grand a week. Winks apparently.
They can't. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable for them as a club. So they have to trade and they have to get players out. So it could be a fire sale at Leicester, even though there's still a parachute side. It's not looking good, is it? It shows what one bad appointment can do. And that's not a Cifuentes dig per se, but make the wrong appointment. And we've been subject to this season as well. Make the wrong appointment. The manager's the most important person at your football club because they can make or break you as a club, really. And to go the wrong direction when you've got such talented players is criminal, really.
Yeah. Well, he's lost his job for it, and that's it, isn't it? Yeah. But he's lost his job half a season later when they're struggling like hell now, aren't they? So
paid for his job and then lost his job. Unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. He won't be out of pocket, Jim. Don't worry about him.
No, he won't. He won't. I'm saying poor for Leicester.
I totally agree. I think it's a poor window.
Now,
Middlesbrough, mate.
Somebody who I don't think's had a poor window is Middlesbrough. So I can only really comment on two of the signings comfortably. And that's Leo Castledine, £1 million from Chelsea, who'd been playing really well at Huddersfield in League One. I think it's a steal at £1 million. There will be a high sell on. I can't understand how they've got him out so cheap, in all honesty, for such a young prospect. And Sarmiento on loan from Brighton, who has done it at this level before. So I think the two solid signings there. I don't know much about Monroe from Villa, if I'm honest. Joe Wildsmith is a bit meh for me in terms of he's a loan signing from West Brom as a backup goalkeeper. I think they did that because they were looking at trying to get Seny Dieng out, and it never quite happened. So I think that's really a neither here nor there. And then they've had a couple of lads return from loan. So it's Leo Castledine and Sarmiento, really. Obviously, unknown quantity for me is Finlay Monroe. In terms of outs, they've let Lucas Engel go to Real Salt Lake in America. Charlie Lennon's gone to Barnsley on a permanent deal. Bergzog, as we know, as we've mentioned already, has gone to Bristol City. Kante has gone to St Etienne. And Naipan's loan has ended, which I think is a bit of a blow, really. I don't know the reasons for it. I don't know whether he'd sort of started to slip out of the first 11 or whether he was due to go elsewhere. But he started the season really well for Borough, so I was surprised to see that terminated unless there's anything else on the cards. I would say this is an average to good window for Middlesbrough. They're at a net deficit of near enough €2 million. Losing Naipan is a blow, but Castledine's a great bit of business. Sarmiento strengthens the squad. So I could be persuaded to go average or good for this one, pal.
Well, I've got them at good. And, a lot of it is down to, like you've said, is Castledine, who I know we were interested in as well, but he's chose Middlesbrough. £1 million, even if it doesn't go right, it's worth the gamble.
Retains his value.
You're not losing. But it must be a big seller, or maybe they've been given like Aston Villa did with Hamer, where they were given first dibs to match a bid. Maybe Chelsea have got that with Hackney, for instance. Who knows?
Yeah,
who knows? But Sarmiento, good player. Monroe's not be a bad player if he's coming on loan from Aston Villa. You wouldn't have thought, but I can't really say about him. But Naipan's Nijpan's a good player. He's a really good player.
Yeah,
He was
he
a good
is.
player when he was over in Holland. I think he went back for like a game time in the end. I don't think he was getting the game time that they wanted him to get.
Right,
So
okay.
Man City recalled him. I think they've had a good window. I think they've had a good window.
I'm all right with that, mate. We don't have to balance it out. It's what do we genuinely think of every team's window? And 5 teams so far we think have had a good window, and I think this is where we bump it up. So on to Millwall.
Well, they've got a good. You look at Middlesbrough, mate. They've got a good squad, and you'd
Yeah,
say apart from Nijpan leaving, they've strengthened, haven't they? So for me, it's a good window.
Yeah, I can go with that. I think it's borderline, but I'm happy with good.
Yeah. I can accept that as well, but it's staying in good. Go on then. So Millwall, that's me, innit?
It's you, mate.
I think they've had an absolute excellent window.
I think they've had the best window.
I think it's fantastic. They brought in Tommy Watson on loan from Brighton, who looks a fantastic prospect. He did well against us last season for Sunderland in the league game at our place. He was very dangerous. Don't really want to talk about the player final, but again, did well. Patterson's a fantastic goalie, and I know that a lot of Sheffield United fans who are in the Platinum Group really liked him and wish we'd have gone for him, but they were talking about £8 million at the time when we went up to the Premier League last.
Yeah.
And then they've got Sheffield Wednesday's star man, really. They've got Barry Bannan out of Sheffield Wednesday. And for all the ribbing that we like to give him and this and for being a Sheffield Wednesday player, he's a good player. He's a very good Championship footballer. His legs aren't gone, but he never relied on his legs. He's a good passer. I don't think he'll start many games for him, but he'll be a good player for him. So it's good. More for the other two that they brought in than Barry Bannan. And then when you look at who's gone out, Kamal Grant, AJ Matthews, Blackpool, Leyton Orient, and Wes Harding to Plymouth, that's not hurting them at all.
No,
I think it's an excellent window.
I think Wes Harding's quite poor, to be honest, and for some time, and they are leveling up Millwall undoubtedly, and they have used the momentum from a great first 2/3 of the season to bring it to strengthen even more. I think their 2 weaker areas were goalkeeper and on the left hand side, because to sort of complement Aziz on the right, and that is exactly where they've gone out and nailed it for me. 2 statement signings, and I think it's sort of made everybody sit up and notice, really, because they could have been signed by anybody in this league, those 2, and that's not an overstate. Ipswich could have gone in for Tommy Watson and nobody would have batted an eyelid. Even Anthony Patterson, I think, would get in over Christian Walton. So we talked about Ipswich having the best squad in the league. Well, Millwall have got 2 players there that would walk into their first team, in my opinion. So they are fantastic signings, and Millwall are excellent. They have had an excellent transfer window for me.
100% agree with that. 100%. I think it's a fantastic window.
On to the Canaries, but before we do, let's just jump into some comments. I don't want to get too far behind. Kieran Dow was awful at Derby, says Ramtastic. He also says Ibu suits a relegation dogfight style side. We've progressed beyond that. That's a little bit of arrogance from a Derby fan, to be fair, Ramtastic, and I mean that with the best intentions, but probably earned in the way you've been playing. I do think you've leveled up in the Championship, and I think, to be fair to you, you maybe have earned the right to say that. So you just got to play it by ear, aren't you? Because these things are cyclical, and next season, if you don't make it into the playoffs, next season, it would surprise no one. Look at Sheffield United this year and things like that. Things turn around quickly. So I won't rest on your laurels too much, but I do agree that you've leveled up.
Plus, Derby, to be fair with Derby, if they don't go up, what's the finances like? Are they going to be picked? Are people going to be picking the best players? Because it's what happens.
You think Adjaman would go, wouldn't you? And Spodix will go back to Ipswich. So it soon happens where you start to lose a couple of main men. Hull average, it's quantity over quality. Yeah, I think we've agreed with you there, James, to be honest. Hey, Ramblers says Cillian, Wrexham top tier for giving Jimmy McLean back to us.
Nice one.
Hope you're all right, Jimmy, as our lead has been removed faster. Oh, I've read that
already. I've read that one.
I tried to avoid it first time, and I got it twice. Ipswich, excellent, says James. I think so. I think you can argue that, James. Leicester, poor window, says Dan, especially with the size of the club, going to struggle for the rest of the season. Certainly are now. They should get more points deducted, should Leicester, says Paul. Leicester are poor, says James. Luke says Lascelles has played 2 Premier League games in the last 2 seasons. Exactly my point. To be fair to be fair, if we're all being balanced, Kalvin Phillips has played something like 7 minutes this season of Premier League football. So, we'll come on to that as we get to him. But James says this deduction could motivate Leicester. On the other hand, it could motivate Oxford. Leicester have got off lightly. It could. There's all sorts of different ways it could go.
Yeah.
James, what you hear about Leicester is, and Lee, you may or may not have heard this, and you may say I'm talking rubbish, but the attitude in the dressing room is said to be terrible in terms of the whole atmosphere around the club and a sense of entitlement and that they are too good to be where they are and all this sort of thing. And you can believe it by some of the money that some of the players are earning, some of the egos that are in that dressing room. And it is the complete wrong recipe that you want for a relegation battle. So I agree. Not just teams like Oxford, but teams like West Brom and Blackburn and Portsmouth may now look around and think, hey, I know they've got these big time Charlies. We could still pull away from these. So let's have a look. He says Middlesbrough average. Oh, I think that's harsh. Millwall excellent. Love the tune. Up the blades, up the ramble. Thank you, mate. Right, let's move on. Who's next? It's Norwich, isn't it?
Norwich.
Mate, we are going over time tonight. I tell you. Sorry to Dave Ahmed, the Platinum Rambler, who's dipping in and out. I think it's fair to say. I don't know whether that's an internet or a personal choice, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll soon find out. Norwich City then spent €5 million. A bit of business that I really like straight away that jumps off at me is Harry Amass on loan from Man United. They plucked him from Sheffield Wednesday, he was their best player, Sheffield Wednesday, undoubtedly, in a small light in a very dark season for Sheffield Wednesday. But Harry Amass was really impressive, it has to be said.
He's injured, Jim. Got injured straight away.
He's got injured at Norwich and he's gone back to Man United to be treated, hasn't he? You might have an update, mate, but I didn't know how long he's potentially out for, because I thought it's a great signing for him and a bit of a coup. But the unfortunate side of it is he's already got injured. So Sam Field on loan from QPR strikes me as a very average signing. Ali Ahmed from Vancouver Whitecaps, don't know enough about him. Paris Magoma from Brentford, who scored against Sheffield United. No, he didn't. That's the different one, isn't it? Paris Hart, wasn't it, at Oxford that scored, I think. We're coming to him soon, aren't we? Pert Harris, that's who I'm getting him.
Oh, yeah, Pert Harris, yeah.
Yeah, Mohamed Toure from Randers, don't know enough about him. Paris Magoma, we've seen in and around Brentford for years. In terms of the outs, loans to lower league level, average for me so far this, mate. I don't know enough about the permanent signings to give an honest assessment. Harry Amass has been really unfortunate. Sam Field, I think he's just an average championship player, to be honest. What's your thoughts on Norwich's window?
I think it's bang average. I've just had a look at the Harry Amass, and it's a serious injury. So he probably won't be going back with the looks of that. It's just what I've read online. I mean, Magoma's all right.
Just online.
Magoma's all right, isn't he? Sam Field's all right. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know enough. Well, I don't know anything, to be honest, about Mohamed Toure from Randers over in Denmark or
Ali Ahmed.
Ali Ahmed, nothing at all. So I think it's only fair because they've not got anybody out, so they're strengthening in a way. It's only fair to go average, really.
I'd say so. They've not got any worse, have they?
The manager's done well. The big thing is when Sargent goes, that would drop them anyway. So I think saying average would be fair.
Yeah, I agree because they're not any weaker other than coming out than they were going in. And like you said, that they've hit a really nice run of form as well. So Clement's doing a very good job there. Over to you and Oxford, mate.
Okie dokie, Oxford United. So they brought in Miles Peart-Harris, who scored against us after a blunder by Mike Cooper, which is not very often you see that. Jamie McDonald from Notts Forest. There were a few teams after him on the final day. I think West Brom were one of them, which is one of my teams that we had on the transfer deadline day. Jinwoo Jeon from Jeonbuk Hyundai. I don't want to say that very often, do you?
Easy for you to say.
And I've got to tell you everything I know about him. Adomo Imaku from Millwall is the next one. Yeah, because I know it for nothing. So, but then they brought in some good loan signings, some young kids. They brought in Eunice Konak from Brentford. They brought in Jamie Donnelly, who was very well thought of at Spurs. Christ Makoso from Luton, I know nothing about, I'm afraid. And Ruben Ruskin from Huddersfield, I know nothing. I don't know whether you do, Jim, because it's your area, nothing at all.
No.
And they've got what they've got out is Louis Sibley. He's gone to Bradford, and I've always liked Louis Sibley. I'm surprised he's playing at Bradford.
League One. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I
Good
like him when
signing
he
for
came
Bradford.
to
It's a good signing for Bradford, that.
He's a good footballer, Louis Sibley. Jacob Knightbridge has gone to Tottenham, so he's a young kid probably. Tom Bradshaw has gone back to Barnsley on loan. I think Cal's quite happy about that.
I would be too. I would be.
Yeah. So, I just think it's average. They brought numbers in, but the players they've got out, the couple there, Sibley and Bradshaw, I quite like. So, they've strengthened numbers. I don't know enough about some of the players. It's average.
Do you know what I'd say? I would say it's quite poor in my opinion.
Okay.
Only because, and I'm not in a position to comfortably say that because we don't know. I don't know about Jinwoo Jeon, and I don't know
Couldn't even
about,
say it, Jim.
Yeah, exactly. And Maku, I don't know enough about him. But Makoso on loan from Luton, who's come up from the league below, wasn't getting in at Luton.
Yeah.
Ruskin come in from the league below. It's not impressive work. Like you say, I think Tom Bradshaw does a job at League One level for Barnsley.
Yeah, I agree.
Doesn't mean they should keep him at the Championship level. But they are, what, 6-7 points adrift of safety, if not more at this stage. Have they done enough to try and pull themselves out of it? You've got to think they are a Championship side, should be judged. They've spent over $1 million, whereas other sides have got more effective players in and spent less. They are a Championship side at the level, and sometimes you need to act like that. For me, they've got a strong spine of Hellick coming, the goalkeeper. I like Hellick, as everybody knows. Brannigan and De Keersmacher in the middle, and Lancashire's okay up front if unproven at the level. He's obviously come through Sheffield United Academy, but they could have gone out and got some better players in, or more established players in. You look at some of the business that we were talking about. Who were it that we looked at?
Can I say, Jim, they could have come to us. We've got players. They could have had,
of course we
Matos.
And they're like
Matos. Exactly.
We talked about Charlton going out, who were in a similar position to Oxford. They've got Connor Cody, Harry Clark, Lyndon Dykes. Whether you rate those players or not, and we've had a conversation about them, they bring in experience. They bring in a reputation with them that gives a bit. If they walk through the door at an Oxford, they'll raise the levels a little bit, and that's why I think it's poor. And as I say, I'm not in a strong enough position to say whether Pert Harris is going to be good enough to turn it around. He scored at the weekend. That's
I'll tell you what, though, mate. He needs a boot deal because them studs don't keep him up much.
No,
he's always on his backside.
I tell you what. Well, to be fair, what you have to do is you have to score against Oxford, and then you don't fall over again. So it's just it's more when Oxford are winning and they need to win the game that he falls over all the time.
Jim, they're a poor side, aren't they, Oxford? From what we saw, they're a poor side with some good players. They've got some good players. Brannigan's a really good player. I thought he had a very good first half, Brannigan, actually, as well.
Yeah, I did. But this is an opportunity to become a better side, and I don't think they've taken it.
I agree totally. And for the same reasons as you, I've got them as a poor.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I've got them as a poor winner.
We'll go with that. Nice. On to Portsmouth then. Madulio Dia. I don't know if he's related to Ali at all from FK Houghton. Ibu Adams, really like that as a signing. Keshi Anderson, League One player in my opinion. And then they've had a few loan signings come in. Ali from Luton, who you can say is a decent to average Championship player. I think a lot of us thought that it were going to go well at Luton. Luton have just been throwing players out on loan because they're trying to reduce their wage bill because obviously they've gone down 2 divisions in quick succession. Jacob Brown has come in from Luton as well. I don't know much about Elise from Sunderland. And
I mean, he's decent. He's decent, Jim. I've got a friend from there, and I mean, he's decent.
Fair dues. I think they've lost out with Callum Lang going to Preston, and Min Hyuk, who's gone back, as we've already spoken about, and gone out higher up the table. I think he's gone to Coventry, hasn't he? So I think they're big losses as well for Portsmouth. 2 wingers there that are impact players for Portsmouth. I actually think they may have come out. If it hadn't have been for the Ibu Adams deal, I'd have said they've come out weaker. So I would be tempted to say this is an average window for Portsmouth, all being said, because they haven't spent a lot of money either.
No, I think they've come out even, Jim. I think they walk away from this and just say, let's see where we go from here. Adams, like we talked about with Derby. I mean, I like him. I think Kessie Anderson's stealing a living, personally.
Me too. Me too.
Jacob Brown was a good player. He hasn't been a good player for a couple of seasons while he's been at Luton. I don't see some of these signings improving them. But, you know, I don't know enough about Deer. Elise is supposed to be good, and Adams I like. So I'm happy to go in average.
Yeah, I think so too. Could have been a poor, to be honest, but we'll go in average. On to Preston, mate.
Preston.
Yeah,
Preston. So they've played Dex a little bit, Preston. So they got rid of Frokjær Jensen back to Bromby. Stefan Thordarson's gone to Hanover. Theory's gone out, but he's only a young kid. He's gone to FC United of Manchester. Will Keane has gone on loan to Reading, to the league below. So, you know, fair. And the others are kids going away. But the big one that hurts them is Harrison Armstrong going back to Everton. Really good player. And then they brought in Callum Lang. They brought him Andy Moran from Brighton, who's supposed to be a good player. And Milos Lukovic, who I don't really know anything about, from Strasbourg. I don't like their window.
I don't. I was just going to say exactly the same. I tell you what, the wild card for me is Moran, because I can give you a balanced opinion on Lang. I know what Lang's about. I can give you a balanced opinion on Armstrong, who's a much better player than Callum Lang.
Yeah.
So they're losing there on average for me. The other players that have gone out, I can see why they've gone. I think Preston are trying to get some of the like peripheral players out, and they've done that effectively. Will Keane included, because I think they've been trying to get him out for a little while, to be honest.
Big money. Some big money.
Yeah, Harrison Armstrong is a huge blow to Preston. He's been a great loan signing for them. It's just whether you think that Moran could come good, because that would take it to an average window for me. Whereas
Lukovic is only 20. I just had a look. He's only 20 from Strasbourg, so it's a gamble on him, isn't it, as well?
It is. So I would say, in terms of a team that's trying to hang in and around the playoff pack, and they've not spent the money either. So they've got a net positive in terms that they've brought in 500 grand. I would be disappointed as a Preston fan.
Yeah.
I would be disappointed that they haven't really gone for it. Really, you could have spent a couple of million quid, even if that's on loans, on like expensive loans that still give you a fighting chance. We're talking about, as Sheffield United fans, we've invested heavily in, and we're in a different position because we're in last year of our parachute payments. So I understand the discrepancies between the two clubs, but we've invested in Kalvin Phillips when we've got a very much outside chance of the playoffs. But that shows ambition, I think, from the club to at least try and go for it. Whether the fans agree with it as a smart move or not, it's an exciting move. Yeah. So Preston, who are much closer to the playoffs than Sheffield United and have a real fighting chance of getting in there, have not strengthened to the degree that, you know, are they going to still be able to hang with clubs even like Hull and Millwall? I don't think they are. And I think for that reason, I would say it's poor, but it's for the business they haven't done necessarily rather than the business that they have.
And you think with what Ecky's done at that club, you know, from when he went in to what he's turned around now, you think they might have just backed him a little bit more? Because he's done a fantastic job, you know. So fair play to Ecky, and I just think it's a poor window. Poor window.
Okay, good with that. Great manager, poor window.
Yeah, he's done really well. So QPR.
Now
QPR are in a €5 million deficit, Jim, as well.
It's a big one.
I'll let you take it off now. Now I've just dropped that in.
I quite like QPR's business, even though they've spent a lot of money. I think I've done Ronnie Edwards dirty and not including him in one of my videos that I did on Proper Football in terms of being a really good signing in the Championship. I think he's one of those that $4.5 million is a lot of money, particularly for a side that probably isn't going to get promoted this year. It's a really big investment, but he's a good player at the level, and I think he's another one that will hold his value. It reminds me a little bit of Charlie Hughes in that respect, that he'll probably go for double what you pay for him if he just maintains his trajectory at the moment. So I think it's a good investment from QPR. I don't know much about Abiku, but he's obviously gone for a little bit of money because it might be £500,000 or something like that, just due to the total that's at the top there. So and Murphy Cooper's come back into QPR squad and then gone back out. He's the goalkeeper who's gone out on loan to Wednesday. So they've got rid of How to Save a Life, Michael Frey, to Grasshoppers, Sam Field, Dixon Bonner. I don't mind Michael Frey as a player, to be honest. So I was quite surprised.
I like him, Jim. Yeah, I like him.
But the rest of them, I can completely see why they've done what they've done. So
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of money, but I think it's a good window. If I'm looking at just how you improve a squad, I think Michael Frey as a squad option at Championship level is a decent option. But I think Ronnie Edwards is a good Championship player. And yeah, they've paid the money for him, but it might be worth it. So, you're strengthening your squad a lot. It's a similar, if you look at deal-wise, it's a little bit like the Tanganga deal to Sheffield United. Better player, more money, in my opinion. But it's a lot of money to pay, but you're paying for quality. And that's QPR at that level. And again, it's hard to say and not sound disrespectful, but Ronnie Edwards is QPR really pushing the boat out. But they're getting a good player, and he's worth the money. So I think you could argue that that's good, because I think they've done some good business getting the players out that they have. I wouldn't be offended if you push me towards average.
I have actually got him down as average just for the lack of incomings on top of Ronnie Edwards. I like Ronnie Edwards. I wouldn't have been upset if we signed him 2 or 3 years ago when he were at Peterborough, when he was skipping them at 20-year-old or 19.
Yeah, well.
But the problem with Ronnie Edwards, and he's going to have this, is he's 5'10", and he's never going to hit the heights of the Premier League as a 5'10" centre half. It's not Spain, it's not Italy where you can get away with it. Yeah, you can get away with it in some countries. You're not going to get away with it in Premier League.
Yeah.
So Martinez does at Man United a little bit, but he's hit and miss as well with it at times.
Agreed. That's the main thing that they pull against him, isn't it? So
yeah. So for me, he's a good player, a good signing for this league. I just think it's a bang average window.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go with that. I'm just bringing up Aid's comment where he says Derby only in good. They signed 3 left backs from Utrecht.
Good man.
Okay.
Twins, twins. They're not triplets. They're twins.
Yeah, that's true. Let's have a look. Where was I in the comments? Dan says Millwall dark horses for going up this. I don't think they're dark horses at all. I think they're well in the mix, playing good football and covering many positions with signings made, not spent hardly anything. Andrew says Blades v Millwall playoff final. You heard it here first.
Take it.
I'll take it, Andrew. I'll take Blades v anybody in playoff final at the moment. James says it's true what you say over Leicester. Some troublemakers in the dressing room and gambling culture. I know my mate is a journalist and covers Leicester a lot. Interesting. Right. Norwich average for James. Same as us. Danny says Canaries seem to have got a tune from Slimani. He's playing really well at the moment. Yeah, he is. And he's Slimani. We're at Sheffield United for those that aren't aware. For me, Oxford were panic buying players in, not the quality you would be expecting. I think this wouldn't keep them up. Yeah, poor window for us as well. Guys, have Sheffield United's position in the league improved with Leicester being deducted 6 points? No, we were actually above them in the table at the time, but it's good for us because it's a strong squad that's around us that are now a little bit further away from us. Oxford, poor quantity, not quality. A few teams have done this. Portsmouth are average for James as well. He says Preston are poor. Look at who the CEO is at Preston. Is that...
is it Ridsdale?
Is it still Ridsdale?
Yeah, I think so.
Ibu will, Mr. Ramtastic says, Ibu will rally them and keep them up, in my opinion. They're unbeaten since he signed. 4 unbeaten and looking like they have a lot more fight. Hope they manage it. Well, I hope they don't in a week or so, because that's when
14th, yeah.
QPR are average for James, and Danny says, Blades for me, a good window. Failed in getting players out of the club on fringes in the squad. For me, deal is Marsh to Falkirk. He's having a blinder of a run up north. I can see him in the squad for next season. Well, let's get on to him now, mate. Is it you or me? I can't remember who it is. I think it's you, isn't it?
I think it's me. So I will do the outs because, we would have liked a few more out, like Nwachukwu and Okaki and people like that. But we got Sam Curtis out. Sorry?
Who was that?
Exactly.
Nwachukwu and Okaki.
Yeah, I'm not going any further. So we got Sam Curtis out on loan who needed to play. He's had a couple of failed loans so far, but hopefully this one will go better for him.
Yeah.
Louis Marsh up to Falkirk. Looks like he's doing well. He's in the squad. Scored and assisted yesterday, I believe. Vatterstrom's the unknown. Gone on loan to Genoa, so obviously he's got something. I think he's got a Sweden cap as well. Hopefully he comes back a better player, or we sell him and make a profit.
Option to buy him for €5.5 million.
So it would be a profit then, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
That's quite happy with that.
Healthy profit.
Yeah. Ukaki on loan to Atromitos in Athens, I think they're from. in the Greek top division. I don't know if they are actually. It's a Tomitos anyway. So he's gone there. Louis Barry, gone back to Villa. Really didn't pull up any trees with us. And Ben Godfrey, unfortunately, didn't get a chance due to personal issues. So, no loss really with any of them. Wish Louis Marsh and Zatterstrom and everybody the best.
Absolutely.
Let's have a look what we brought in. And I think we've had a very good window. It were late, but it's good. We've got Bamford wrapped up, which I was very unsure of when he signed. I'm a believer now. I think he's our best striker.
Yeah, agreed.
The Ramble's own Patrick Bamford.
The Ramble's own Patrick Bamford, sponsored by the Blades Ramble. He's a Ramble.
Kijana Hoover.
Well, if you're mentioning Bamford, we have to mention Gyro Riedeveld as well, I think, don't you? In terms of
but he signed in November, didn't he?
But so did Bamford.
Yeah, but Riedeveld didn't renew in January, did he? Did it before?
That's true, actually, because I forgot that Bamford's deal was up in Jan, weren't it? Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's fair to say. That's fair to say.
So then we got Hoover in, didn't we, from Wolves, Henry?
Yes.
And he comes in and he's a good player, a good right back. But at the moment, he's playing backup to an excellent Femi Sariki, but very happy with that loan deal.
Absolutely.
Yelder from Sunderland. I don't know much about him. Played for Leeds. I think he's going to be one of them average, decent to average championship left backs. Very happy.
Looked neat tidy though other night, didn't you think?
Yes, he did. Yeah. Didn't put a foot wrong. I thought at times he looked a little bit rigid in the way he held himself on the pitch, but he did nothing wrong. Then we've got Joe Rothwell. Very good signing from Rangers. If it's the Rothwell from Leeds and not from the one that apparently was playing at Rangers, which wasn't very good. We're very happy with that signing.
We've signed the Leeds Joe Rothwell, haven't we?
Brilliant, because he's a good player. He's a very good player.
Yeah,
and the eye-catching one, and I personally believe the signing of the window, Kalvin Phillips from Man City on loan. It's a massive backing from the board, which they needed to do. I'm not going to go into that today. I think we've had a good window. I'm close to excellent, but I'm going to go with good.
I would completely agree with you. I think we needed to get more out.
Yeah.
We potentially needed a couple more in, but I think we could have only reasonably expected any more in. I think we've got more than we expected anyway, but in a selfish world, we'd have liked a winger or two, maybe. We'd have liked.
I think the McCallum injury stopped that, Jim, didn't it?
Yeah, I think
get Yelder in, stop the winger coming in, probably.
Yeah, because we're looking at, there were rumours about Mikey Johnson and Reyes Cleary, weren't there? And it wouldn't surprise me if we revisit that in the summer, particularly for a championship club, as expected. But I think in terms of the ambition shown by the club, that is the board as well as the manager, I think it's fantastic. I think we've let ourselves down a little bit with not getting the players out. I think it's been very difficult to do that, though, with how the summer window was as well. So there were certain players we couldn't get out. There were certain deals that were very difficult to get around. So we do now have a bloated squad, which Wilder didn't want. But I'd rather have too many options than too few. And I think we've got we've got a very talented squad. I think the quality of the first team is high. I think the quality of the backup in certain positions is very high for backup players.
Yeah.
Centre midfield is incredible in terms of quality depth. And right back, as you've said, I think I'm really happy with the depth there as well. Could have maybe done a couple more bits, but I think because we haven't quite, and I don't, I can understand the reasons why, but we haven't quite done everything we wanted to do. I think it drops down to a good from an excellent window. So I'm with you there, mate.
Yeah, and also you've got to think now how stacked our under-21s are going to be with all these players. I mean, outstanding, that team.
It's true, isn't it? Yeah. Okaki's not going to get a game for them either.
Well, he's not. He's over in Greece, isn't he?
Yeah, true. Okay, so do I get the fun one?
You get the fun one.
So over to our neighbours, Sheffield Wednesday. Look, we are a neutral channel here. We're not a Sheffield United channel, but we make no secret of it. We are Blades and we are Sheffield United fans. So just a quick word on this one. Sheffield Wednesday have had a terrible season. They are in this mess due to ridiculous and awful ownership. We don't wish any ill on anybody that works at Wednesday, and please, they haven't gone bust for the people that work there, and that needs to be said. But on the field, I couldn't wish them any any good or anything like that. I certainly want them to get relegated. I want to be the team to relegate them, which is mathematically possible at this moment in time. That would be, as a rival of theirs, that would be incredible and would be something that we talked about for a long, long time. They're terrible. And in a lot of ways, certainly on the field, we get a lot of pleasure in this as being Blades, because they would the other way around. And that's how rivalries work. It's nothing personal against anybody. It's just we love to see our rivals doing poorly, and they would love it if it were the other way around. When we were getting battered every week in the Premier League, they were dancing. And fair play. That's how it works. So Sheffield Wednesday, what business have they done? We know they've got no money. We know they're in administration. We know that they're going through an ownership change. For what it's worth, I think James Board, who is trying to take over Sheffield Wednesday, sounds to me, everything points towards him being a charlatan. He was in at Sheffield United, made some horrendous decisions. He was part of the reason we unravelled as a club this season to a large degree. And then everything that we've done right is since James Board left the club. He's now trying to take over our rivals, which we are all for. I would be amazed if he passes the owner's test. Amazed. And I hope he does, because obviously I want him to be their owner and see if he can get them the quality players that he got us in that we're now trying to get rid of. So Sheffield Wednesday brought in Marvellous Nakamba from the division below. His contract was terminated at Luton Town, and they're probably paying him the maximum that they're allowed to pay, which is £7,000 a week. Wasn't getting in the Luton Town side. Luton are desperate to get rid of players because they've done exactly what Sheffield Wednesday are about to do and been relegated to League One and need players off the books. They've somehow managed to get players in on loan. I think this was more because the EFL were concerned that they wouldn't be able to field enough players if they didn't allow them to do any transfer business. Jaden Heskey, son of Emil, is coming from Manchester City. Murphy Cooper, who was playing on loan at Barnsley in League One, has been recalled to QPR and sent out to Sheffield Wednesday. They have got a very good goalkeeper in Piers Charles, who unfortunately for them got injured and wasn't able to be sold this January, which would have seen them financially better off. But that's, these things happen and nobody wishes injury on anybody. But I think Piers Charles will clearly be gone in the summer, as will any other assets that are left. Jerry Yates, who has done okay at championship level previously, but I think he's got 2 goals in 22 for Luton in League One this season. He's now signed on loan for Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship. And Ndala from Manchester City, who I don't know a lot about, and I don't know a lot about Adaramola from Crystal Palace either, who both come in on loan. Horvath has gone back to Cardiff in League One. Killian Barrett has gone out on loan to Barrow. I don't know whether that's a loan deal. They've lost one of their youngsters to Chelsea, who notoriously in this region, Sheffield United have, and this is just how it's been. We've got the better youth recruitment within the area. And I think that's been proven by players that have come through our academy in the last 10, 20 years. But once or twice, everybody gets a gem. And Wednesday have had whatever gems they have had in their academy plucked out of them. And Chelsea have now taken this Yisa Allo. So that's somebody else gone from their academy. I think Man City took one of their kids as well earlier in the season.
They took the other Cadamatri kid, didn't they?
Yeah, they took the other Cadamatri because Bailey Cadamatri's gone this window to Wrexham for £1 million. I think it's a good deal for Wrexham. I don't think he'll start for them, but he's certainly a good young player. It reminds me a little bit of the Geldard deal when Wigan were struggling financially and Leeds pinched him for £1 million. He's now come on to become a good championship player, which I think Cadamatri could do also. The standout for Sheffield Wednesday is Barry Bannan has left their football club, and like Lee says, when we were talking about the Millwall signings, whatever you think about Barry Bannan, he's been and probably still is a good player at this level. I think I'm not as into him as some people are. I don't think he's a starter for Millwall, as Lee's already agreed with. I think he said the same thing. I think it's an okay signing for Millwall, but I think it just shows how bad the situation is at Sheffield Wednesday. He wouldn't have left if they could continue to pay him even. I think he would have stayed where he was. I think he's gone so that he frees up a wage, really, which is interesting because the maximum they can pay, I believe at the moment, and I don't understand all the ins and outs, is £7,000 a week. So Bannan was on £7,000 a week. You've got to think Nakamba's on around the same. Yeah. So why would you let Bannan go? Unless there's been a fee. We don't know the ins and outs. And to be honest, I'm not that bothered. I think overall, it's from what Wednesday had to do. They couldn't really do anything else. I think it's a poor. I don't think it's an awful window. I think it's a poor window for Wednesday in terms of losing 2 big hitters and a young prospect. But that was gonna happen. So I don't think they've really strengthened to any degree. But again, you give it one hand, take with other. I don't think they could be expected to do any better business because the position they're in. Who can they attract as a player, really? So I think it's a poor window for Wednesday, mate. Some would argue it's awful. Some would argue it's average because of the situation. You could argue it either way. But I think it's poor in terms of the grand scheme of things. Any thoughts on it, pal?
Yeah, I've got them down as poor as well. My thing looking at it, and I don't know whether I'm right in saying, but I think they can't pay any money towards loans either. So maybe the loans have to be paid for by their parent clubs. So these are kids being chucked out on loan.
Which would be. Why would Jerry Yates come then? Why would Luton pay Jerry Yates?
Because he's not playing. He's not playing at Luton, is he? So they must be paying. They must be then. They've got to be, haven't they?
Yeah, because why would Luton pay for him to play for somebody else?
Yeah, they wouldn't. They wouldn't.
It's strange, isn't it? I don't know, mate. I don't know how it works.
But you look at these. They've got rid of five lads. Obviously, all that wasn't their own. Killian Barrett's a young kid, probably gone to Barrow. The other 3 were playing. I think was that Allo playing, but the other 2, Cadamatri and Bannan were. How many of the players they brought in are going to be there at the end of this season? I know they can't do anything about it, but they've got nobody, have they? They're going to have nobody at the start of next season. I know they think it's a rebuild, but you are rebuilding from the floor up. So
you are.
It's a poor window, but what else could they do? Is the answer to it, isn't it?
I agree, yeah.
What else could they do?
Poor, I agree. Mate, we've been going an hour and a half.
There's a lot to get to with just 2 on us.
I love it, though. I love it. Imagine if Mountain had been on here as well.
Well, he doesn't talk a lot. We're all right. We'd get through him quicker.
That's true. Yeah. Go on then, mate.
So,
Southampton.
So Southampton have brought in a Real Romeo again. Brought him back in on a free. Getting on now, so we don't really know what he's going to be like. He has been a decent Premier League holding midfielder and a good Championship player in his past. Then they brought in Kyle Larin from Mallorca. I had a look at him. He looks promising.
Okay.
James Breeze come back, who's a good player at this level, as we know.
Yep.
And Daniel Peretz on loan from Bayern Munich. I know nothing about, so I'm only going to say it's like getting somebody from Man City. You'd expect him to be a good player.
Yeah.
On the outside, now they've made 18 million euros this window, so they needed to cut the losses a little bit. So they've got rid of Adam Armstrong. He's gone to Wolves, who's by far their best forward. Ronnie Edwards, 4.5 million to QPR.
They've got Cameron Archer.
Like I said, by far their best striker. Cameron Archer might be now, but there you go. Ronnie Edwards has gone. Bella Kachop, who I thought was a decent player, has also gone. And then you've got lads going to Salford, Western. Ryan Fraser, who lost his way a little bit, who's gone to Western Sydney Wanderers. Damien Downs has gone out to Hamburg. Bazunu, who's gone on loan to Stoke. He's covering, I think, for Johansson's injured, I think, at Stoke.
He is. So now is Bazunu.
Oh, is he? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Stoke are having a nightmare with injuries.
So they got rid of Larios. He's gone on loan to Real Zaragoza. You've got Aribo gone to Leicester. Akachukwu, there you go. You can have that one. Has gone. Oh, this next one's terrible. He's gone on loan to Colchester, and Prince Will Ehibathioman has gone on loan to Salford.
Say that again, please.
No, thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a paw, because what they've got rid of are 3, in my eyes, the 3 main ones: Bella Kachap, Edwards, and Armstrong. I think are really good players at this level. And what they're bringing in are players who are probably and more than likely past the best and unknowns at this level. So for me, it's a poor.
I will agree with you being poor only because there's nothing on for him this season. I think any other time it's awful because yes, they've accrued some money and they've clawed some money back into the club, which they have to do now because they're offsetting a season that they're not going to get promoted. So I get it. I just think they've lost some really good players this window for the level. We talked about Ronnie Edwards already. Adam Armstrong is the talisman up top. Bazunu, I thought was a good keeper, wasn't getting in, to be fair. But Damien Downs, I think they signed for 10 million quid. They're sending out on loan.
Yeah.
Ryan Fraser, another one who's been there a while, but he's a known quantity. Joe Aribo's a big player, not been playing well, but a big player for him. So I think it could have been awful, but I'll go with poor just for the sake of.
I
I
think the
James
money they
Reed,
brought in though, Jim, does
exactly
weigh a little
that
back,
offsets
doesn't
it a
it?
bit. It does
Yeah.
offset it a little bit. Ariel Romeo is a good player. I like him, but
Yeah.
like you say, it's similar to obviously higher level, but it's similar to the old Sam
Cody
Morphy, Lascelles. What
Yeah.
level is he going to be at now? We brought in Danny Ings, previously being a very good player. The reputation alone makes you think great signing. Unfortunately, it hasn't really worked for us, if we're honest. So you've got to wait and see how these signings pan out rather than just go on the reputation. But I think James Bree is a bit of a sleeper one to come back in because I think he's been playing minutes for Southampton. And I think he's a really good player at the level as well. So I think it's a poor window overall for Saints.
Yeah. Agree. Stoke, mate.
Stoke, they've signed Jezeren.
Can I just stop you a minute there? I were really hoping we got you on Southampton for that lad's name because I knew I was going to struggle with that. I wanted you to have him. Prince Will.
I thought you might. Thank you for that. I think it's been a good window for Stoke, I would say. And I'll say that because I think Raksaki could be a real strong addition for them. I've been asked a couple of times, and I've been on a couple of Stoke pods about this, actually, just to ask our opinion on Raksaki. A bit of a frustrating player at times. I think he officially got labelled a bit of a luxury player at Sheffield United, but when you think about his contribution, I think he scored something like 5. He might have scored 7 goals, something like that.
Yeah.
He was decent in terms of his actual output. So for all the times you think he's frustrating because he wasn't at that stage of his career tracking back and helping out the right back, he did give something going forward, and I think they've got Manoff, who we can compete with on the right, or they could even put Manoff in the 10 now and have Raksaki on the right-hand side. I think it gives them options. Bazunu is a good goalkeeper. It's a shame for them that he's got injured. Don't know how long he's out for, so I can't really judge that in terms of an overall signing. Don't know anything about Ampa, but Milan Schmidt is said to be a very good player as well.
Yeah.
And they haven't really lost anything on the players that have gone out because they've gone to the lower leagues. So I think it's a good window for Stoke. I think they keep themselves in the conversation. They've certainly not got any weaker. Raksaki, I think, improves certainly any side pushing to get into the playoffs at this level. So I like it as a window for Stoke. I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's a good window. Nice, solid, steady window for him.
I agree with Raksaki. When he first came and he was driving at players and cutting in and getting in positions that were dangerous, the kid looked a real player and a real positive. And he seemed to lose his way around the mid-season point and stop driving on and taking away and lost a bit of confidence. And I think he's a bit like Brooks in that sense, that when they've got confidence,
Yes.
Brooks is a Sheffield United player who currently is on fire down our right side, cutting inside, scored 3 and 3. And very similar types of players.
Yeah.
And maybe Raksaki just needs to go again, you know what I mean? And feel like he's appreciated and pushed forward.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've got it as an average to good window. So if you want to go good, I'm very happy to go good because they've definitely not weakened, have they?
No, I agree. Yeah, let's go with good. And we're approaching the last 4, mate. As you can see, let me just catch up with some of the comments. James says Sheffield United has had a good window. We agree. Danny says, Benny looked decent, a decent backup to Brooks. That goal yesterday would do him the world of good. I hope so. Chong didn't do much at all. He's got to be third choice for the right-hand side now. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that's probably fair. Wednesday are building for next season, so you have to also look at it in different contexts, as Ed, but they're not bringing anything in the way. That's the issue. You're right. They do need to get bodies out and people off the wage bill, and that's because of the current situation of admin. But there's no long-term planning there, is there? So they're not building anything for next season yet. They're preparing for next season, but they're not building.
They're clearing decks.
Clearing the decks. There's a hold-up of the takeover at the Owls. EFL directors test and proof of funds doesn't accept cryptocurrency at the proof of funds, so it could be off, says Danny. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I've changed my mind. It's awful. Losing Amas and Bannan is horrendous. With their sales, it's not a football-focused sale. It's a financial focus sale. I agree with that, Ed.
Yeah.
Contextually, it's average in comparison to the rest of the division. It's awful. Poor splits the difference. Yeah, which is what we've gone for.
Yeah.
Michael says, I was watching the Wednesday Till I Die pod as they did a watch along away to Bristol City. They subbed Bannan in the 89th minute, and the Wednesday podcaster started to well up, trying to hold back the tears. Look, we can. It's a rivalry. It's a rivalry, and we can take the mickey out of each other and stuff like that. And he's meant an awful lot to their football club.
Yeah.
So, as football fans, you recognise what players mean to their team and manage. Look, I've spoken on this before, but the first time Chris Wilder got sacked as Sheffield United manager, I was on the floor for the whole weekend. Was a write-off for me, and I won't have been the only blade. My wife often throws it back in my face in arguments. Even when that guy got sacked at Sheffield United, you won't speak to anybody for 3 days. It affects people more than you know. So I'm not surprised if James or Matt, whoever it was, got upset when the new Bannan had kicked his last ball for him. It's just having that affection to the player in your club. It's what it's about, really, to be honest, Michael. S6 were poor, says James. I agree with that. In 2015, Bannan's last match before he joined the Owls was playing for Bolton alongside Emil Heskey. His last game for Sheff Wednesday in 2026 at Bristol City, he was playing alongside Emil Heskey's son. Interesting fact like that. Southampton, poor, says James. Poor, says Dave Morwood. Is this a telethon? Just to correct you, Jimmy, Ings hasn't worked yet, says Ian.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, fair. Vodka Rob says it's a good window for us at Stoke, but at the same time, we need some of the injured players back more than anything. Yeah, you do. That's killing you at the minute.
Yeah.
That's the injured players. Stoke are average, according to James. I think it's a good window.
Yeah.
Tom says, wish Wednesday had sold all the players and forfeited the season. Ed says, Leeds fans have gone to tears when the Bielsa team left the club. Exactly right. And it's what it means to you as fans, as individuals as well, isn't it? Losing Bannan is like when we lost Tony Curry to Leeds. There you go, Ian. I wouldn't know that, but it don't surprise me at all. Right, next up, is it me for Swansea, Lee?
I think it's me. No. Oh,
All
yeah,
right,
it is, yeah, because I did Stoke. No. Hold on, no. Did I do Southampton? I did Southampton, so it's me.
Okay, right, go for it, pal. Go on.
Right, well, they've got rid of nobody that's going to affect them. Josh Thomas has gone on loan to Derry City. Bobby Wales has left Wales and gone to Huddersfield.
Hey.
Thank you very much, Shamir Week. They brought in Joel Ward, the centre half, used to be at Palace. Centre half, is your centre half right back? Is it right back?
Yeah. He's about 36.
Yeah, 36, yeah. Gustavo Nunes on loan from Brentford. Don't know anything about him, but Leo Walter on loan from Sirius is a good player and scores goals. Finnish international.
Is he a serious player?
He's a very serious player. Very well done, Jim.
I'll take your word for it, mate, because this is very meh for me. So we can still stick him in average. Yeah,
average.
I don't know enough about Walter. I would have happily said poor if you wouldn't have said anything about him.
No,
if you think there's a serious player in there, then I think we will put him in. On to Watford then. Eduardo Bove. What's this about? Who've they signed here? Stephen Funny, which is not very funny. Saba Goglichidze.
Centre off from Udinese, knowing well.
On loan from Udinese. Well, it's not a transfer window if Watford and Udinese don't swap players.
Correct.
And Pierre Ekwa on loan from St Etienne.
Played at Sunderland. Sunderland before.
Know them all really well. Don't know any of them. Musa Sissoko has gone out to Panathinaikos. James Morris, Toby Adeyemo, Dan Backman's gone out to Leyton Orient. Everybody's gone to lower league clubs from there, other than Musa Sissoko. The things that hurt them, Caleb Wiley, I don't know much about, but I know that Max Allain, who was their centre half, has returned to Man City. He got recalled because he were having such a good season. That really hurts Watford. It also hurts Watford that they too have lost their manager in this window. So I don't know enough about the ins to give you a full breakdown, pal, but I would say losing Max Allain to Man City and now being a little bit rudderless with no manager, he's teetering on poor for me. But if you know anything about the signings, we can bump them up to average.
I think it's a poor window. We're close to putting awful. But I'm not going to put awful because they've kept Loser and Czech Patadze, which are the best two players by a country mile.
I would argue that
to keep him.
I would
It's
argue that
incredible.
loser could be considered. I mean, Kalvin Phillips will come into this conversation now, but loser could be considered one of, if not the best player in the division as well.
Top 5, definitely, without
Top
a
5,
doubt.
definitely. Yeah, top 5,
Yeah.
definitely.
So, I think it's an awful window for them, but the fact they've kept those 2 players, especially Loser, I think it just makes it poor, because it could have been a lot worse for them.
Just while we're on the last 2 now, mate, we're on the. Yeah, we'll go with Poor for that. We'll go
Yeah.
with Poor. Have we heard from Dave Hamed, our platinum representative?
Yes, he's sent me his things through. I can get him up in a minute, but he's just struggling with connection all the time. So
Okay.
we'll just have to pass his predictions out and probably mess him around a bit so he don't win out, because he did
No,
quite
yeah,
well.
that sounds good. Yeah, could do a Tom Not From selection, couldn't we? I suppose.
Yeah, just take him out of a bag.
Right. So West Brom. I'm quickly
That's-
losing it. Is that you or that's you?
That's me, yeah.
Yeah.
That's me. So West Brom, they brought in Max O'Leary from Bristol City, who's lower to decent in the Championship. Imre on loan from Crystal Palace. Jamaldine Jimo Aloba, there you go, from Aston
Nice.
Villa. Know nothing about him, actually. Then Hindolo Mustafa from Crystal Palace, but they've lost Illing Jr. and Toby Collier, which are 2 really good players. And also Wildsmith's gone out on loan, but that's neither here nor there, really. I think they've had an awful window for a team in big trouble.
Completely agree. Completely agree, because of where they find themselves in the league now. 22nd.
Yeah.
They have sleptwalked into a relegation battle, and they needed to strengthen. They've lost probably the 2 best players, and certainly Illing Jr. I like Max Johnston, so I think Max Johnston is probably up there with Illing Jr. in terms of importance to him. To be fair, but why has Illing Jr. gone back? Do we know? Was it
No idea.
Who
No
Housery from Villa, because they're essentially rival teams, and it's a kick in the groin or what?
Well, yeah, Villa have sent that Jamaldine Jimo Aloba instead, haven't they? They called one back and sent another one out to him. So
yeah, it's crazy. But I think it's awful from West Brom. I think
totally
if you're
agree,
a West
mate.
Brom fan, you'll be absolutely pulling your hair out. In fact, we've had people in our comments, both on the Blades Ramble and Ramble FC, saying, "Get these owners out of our club.
Yeah.
We need to." It's been horrendous, really, in terms of how they're being run at the minute. So I fear for West Brom, mate. I fear for them, and I didn't do as little as 4 weeks ago, but now I think they're really in the mire, to be honest.
And I've seen things about the fans just don't get the manager either, and he's only just gone in, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Ramsey.
Yeah.
They turned on him already, and he can only use what he's got already there, because they've not backed him, have they? So
Yeah, exactly right. Now this one, I'm going to go opposite end of the scale, and I don't like doing it because they're not one of my favourite clubs, as everybody knows. But we are fair and impartial. What I'm going to say here is, I don't think any of the signings that they've made are knockout signings. I don't think they're blow you away signings. But I think you've got to look at it in context. So out, they've got James McLean, horrible player. Connor Cody, who will have been on big money and not getting involved from. Ryan Hardy, I think, was a questionable one, but obviously they don't see a lot of room in there. They've moved out Paul Mullin, Elliot Lee. In total, they've got out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 players out. We knew they had a bloated squad anyway, and I think they've improved by just bringing in 3 more players. So the players they've brought in are Zach Viner from Bristol City, a good young centre half. Davis Keeler-Dunn from Barnsley, who is 28, but he's been playing really well for Barnsley. It remains to be seen whether he can do it at a championship level, but I think he certainly goes into their top 15, so he'll be in their squad. And then Bailey Cadamartri, who again is another very good prospect from Sheffield Wednesday. So what Wrexham have done, I think, is that they've strengthened their squad significantly with these 3 players, because you've got to take it in context to what they already have. They've got a lot of dross out, or players on the way down out, older players or past their peak players or big wage players, and they've brought in assets to the club. Viner could be one for 2 or 3 years' time. Cadamartri could be one for 2 or 3 years' time, and it still keeps them competitive in and around the 6th at the moment. They've not lost any first teamers. I have to say, as much as it's not knock your socks off in terms of the names that have come through the door, I think it's an excellent window for Wrexham.
I totally agree with you. I had them as excellent and it is for what they've got rid of. What they've done is they've got rid of high earners that aren't playing, and they've got rid of the League Two and League One players. You know, that aren't going to change a game in this division, aren't going to
Yeah.
be there all the time. So they've let them players go out on loan or on a cheap exit just to get them off the wage bill. But what they brought in are, like you said, assets. You're not going to lose money on Viner. You're not losing money on Cadamatri. Keeler Dunn you might do in the long run. But I think it's an excellent window, and it's not exactly for what they brought in. They've done well. It's what they've got rid of. I think it's excellent.
I agree. Ian's just corrected me, rightly so. Viner's 28. I thought we were a young lad that came through.
He's been at Bristol City 20 years, and I was thinking, have they got an under
20
fours?
years.
Yeah, have they got an under fours? I thought when you said that, but I left it.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. Okay, let's have a look. What are people saying? So that's our list complete, and I mean it's taken us an hour and 3/4 to get through it. But thank you for sticking with us. We've had almost 100 people in here on a regular basis. So let's just see what the last few comments are before we get into our predictions. Losing Bannan is like when we lost Tony Curry to Leeds was the last one. Feels like you're here all week. Swansea average, says James. Yeah, I think that's where we ended up with. Jimmy, it was James that broke down in tears twice on Wednesday Till I Die podcast when Bannan was subbed, and when he went towards the Wednesday supporters to wave them goodbye, when also Bannan shed tears. Look, James is a good friend of ours anyway. He's actually, for those that don't know and are familiar with our channel, he's Jord Motson's cousin. So there's no ill will between us and the Wednesday Till I Die boys. Obviously, they support a terrible side, and we love it when they're losing, but we're all pals, really, to be honest, to sort of break down that illusion.
Jimmy, it just shows that he feels for his club like we feel for ours, and I'm sure everybody else who's here feels the same for their club.
Exactly right. No shame at all in getting emotionally wound up in your team. Not at all. Was that you on Radio Stoke the other night talking about Raksaki? I thought I recognised the voice. Yes, it was, my friend. It was me talking to my mate. Watford Poor, says James.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say his name then. Is it Lucas? I hope it's Lucas. Can we get a few more likes, people, please? Thank you, Ian. Appreciate you, my mate. We've had a few more subscribed tonight. Thank you to everybody that's joined us. If you do like what we're doing, then do drop us a subscribe. It's completely free. Thank you for that. West Brom awful, says James. Yeah, we've gone with that as well. Can I ask how come you took all our players? Says JB Leeds. Hope they do well for you guys. Yes, thank you, mate. Look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, to be fair. And we've got some good players out of Leeds United. I think you've also done all right out of Sheffield United as well.
exactly.
Dom Calvert-Lewin, a Blade, born a Blade, by the way, still a Sheffield United fan, so he seems to be doing okay for you. Jayden Bogle followed the money, and he plays well in the Premier League now. Fair enough. Ian, I've said that, so I'm not going to read it out. JB says, Jimmy Rothwell is a great player. Great player. He will improve your team. I hope you're right, pal. I hope you're right. Grim Plays says, yeah, we just needed to add to the squad depth. So good from me. All right. Looking forward to see how they play. Wrexham are excellent, says James. I agree. Agent Bamford working wonders. Yeah, I think
Yes, he has.
doing JB.
Yeah.
I think that's right. Callum over Davis yet, or still needs some tender care? No, he's not over it, pal. Tell him not to worry. Our Parky will take good care of him. Don't you just? It's a red rag to a bull, that, to be fair. Andrew says, "Well done tonight, boys. You put a shift in. Thank you. I've enjoyed it, mate. I mean, it goes back to. I mean, I can't say the same for Lee, but as long as we're enjoying it, that's what we're here for, isn't it? Really, just having a laugh with your mates. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Michael says, I didn't realise James is George's cousin. Have they been on each other's podcasts? Yeah, we've had James on the Blades Ramble, and George's come in on that as well and been a part of it. And then I've been on Wednesday Till I Die podcast a couple of times as well. Is James coming on again soon from S6? I'm sure he will be, pal. We can sort that out. I think Luca's dad was my PE teacher, says Rob. Okay. Lucas's dad. Okay. Oh, nice one. Okay. Rothwell, not good at. He's a good lad, is Lucas, to be fair. I spoke to him a few times. Rothwell, not good at Rangers, says Connor. Yeah, we've heard the same, mate. And you've got to hope you get in the Leeds version and Southampton version.
Russell
cheers,
Martin,
guys.
though. Russell Martin.
Yeah, Russell Martin effect.
Russell
He
Martin.
can kill any player. JB says, have a good night, lads. Hurry up and get to the promised land. You might have to wait a little bit longer for us, JB, I'll be honest. So, Lee, moving on then, just to finish us off tonight. We always move on to our predictions, don't we, pal? So,
nice one. Yeah, let me move this down then, because I can get that out of the way now. Okay. predictions. Last week, week 16, it was Dave, Blade Runner, who's having trouble getting on last week. So we invited him back this week. And guess what?
Yes.
He's had trouble getting on again.
Can't get on
So-
this week.
Okay. We've got that. So last week, Jim, we had Middlesbrough, Norwich, Portsmouth, West Brom, Leeds, Arsenal, Liverpool, Newcastle, Forest, Palace games. From those 5 games, Jim managed 2 points.
You don't have to go over results every week, you know. You don't have to do that.
He got a point for the correct result, Middlesbrough, Norwich, and a point for Liverpool, Newcastle, correct result. Paul managed 3 points. I managed 3 points. Jord managed 3 points. And Dave, who we can't see, managed 4. So the leaderboard at the moment is me on the top with 46, Jordan on 44, quite close behind, the Ramblers in the middle on 43, Paul on 41, and Jim bringing up the rear on 38.
Careful.
So this week.
is that another one we can get on screen, do you think?
What's that?
Is it going to be easier to get it on screen, or is it not set up to do that?
I can put it on screen if you want.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be nice. If you can. Or have you pre-populated everybody's fixtures? Everybody's predictions?
Yeah, the pre-populated.
Right. Okay. You don't have to do that then.
All right, no worries. Well, so anyway, let's start, shall we, with your choices. Wrexham v Millwall this week. Jim, and what have you gone for?
I have to say, there's some incredible fixtures this weekend. Some really good ones. And we've, obviously, we all select our own individually, but there's some really good ones selected in this one. But Wrexham versus Millwall, huge game in the playoff chase in the Championship. Millwall sort of secured the place in that top 5, really. Wrexham trying to hang on and become part of a top 6. I have to back Millwall here. Not because I definitely think it's going to happen, but because if Sheffield United have got any chance of catching a playoff side, we need that top 5 to keep pushing everybody else down. So I've gone for a Millwall 1-0 away win, but I can't say I'm overly confident with it, pal.
So Paul sat on the fence with a 1-1. Jordan's gone for a 1-0 Wrexham win. I've gone for a 2-1 Wrexham win. Oh. And David, when I get him up, has gone for 2-2. So you're the only one, Jim. So it could be great points for you again, or you could end up doing what you're doing again. So and everybody else...
All Blades want me to be right as well, let's be honest.
Yeah, fair. Well, I know that Grim Plays won't want you because he's the Wrexham fan that's been in the room.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. It's no offense to Grim Plays. It's just, dog eat dog, isn't it, in Championship?
So then we've got Mr. Mountain's pick, which was Sheffield United versus Middlesbrough on Monday night. And Jim?
Well, a little bit of a spoiler for tomorrow night, really, which I don't like doing, but I've gone 2-1 Blades.
And Paul's gone 2-1 Blades.
Go on.
I've gone 2-2.
Desmond.
And it's basically because I don't like putting us to win because I think I'm going to jinx it. So I've gone 2-2.
Okay.
Jordan's gone 1-1. And Dave has gone 3-1 Blades. Well done, Dave.
Go on, Dave. Go on, Dave, the Blade Runner ledge.
So then we come to the third game, which is mine. And I've gone for Birmingham v Leicester, which you don't know how Leicester are going to react after this points deduction. Jim?
I think I've gone 1-1 for this one.
You have gone 1-1. You've sat on the fence proper.
Yeah, I've got to do. I'm not a big Birmingham fan, if I'm honest, and I think Leicester will be desperado.
Yeah. So Paul's gone 2-1, Jordan's gone 2-1, and I've gone 3-1, all for Birmingham. And Dave has gone for 2-0 Birmingham.
Interesting. It could make or break me this weekend.
You could either be at the top or you're just way behind.
I'm drifting. Yeah.
Hey, you're going to look good in that outfit, aren't you? At that home game.
Nothing has been determined. I don't think we
so
agree.
the fourth game, Jordan's pick is a Premier League game, Bournemouth v Aston Villa, which is a tight fixture, to be fair. So, Jim?
Desmond, 2-2.
And Jordan has joined you in a 2-2. And Paul has gone for a 1-1. I've gone for a 2-1 win for Bournemouth. And Dave has gone for a 2-1 win for Bournemouth. I'll tell you what is noticeable tonight. Jordan's not on. Where's Meldrew's scores?
I think they're together, to be honest.
You know what I mean?
I think they're having
Is
a
he feeding
couple
him?
at home,
I
aren't they?
think Meldrew's feeding Jord soup.
I think he is, yeah. I
Making
think
him
he is.
better.
Yeah. Hot toddy, a little hot water bottle. Yeah,
Are you all right, my love?
that's what they're doing.
And the last fixture of this week is Coventry v Oxford. This was picked by Dave, who unfortunately hasn't been able to come on again tonight. I haven't been able to make it. And Jim, what did you go for? Coventry Oxford?
Well, many will say, why have you picked this? But I think sometimes these fixtures are just a shot at having a perfect score. So that's a 3-pointer. So yes, we all think Coventry will win probably quite comfortably, but it's can you nail the right scoreline? So I've gone for a 3-0 Coventry.
And Jordan's joined you again on a
Of course,
3-0.
Of course, yes. Well, he hasn't got Meldrew to copy off, has he, tonight? So
Exactly. And Paul's gone for 3-1. I've gone for 4-0 to Coventry.
okay.
And Dave has gone 1-1. And he's put on the bottom of his message, gone to bed. Well done, Dave.
Well, it might be.
Predictions for this
Listen,
week.
if anybody wants to tour around London, Dave's your man. So yeah, he's probably up early for another appointment in the morning. But thank you, Dave. Sorry you couldn't get on, pal. We are also going to be going to bed very shortly, aren't we, pal?
Yes. Can I just say to everybody as well, this is so to be able to come on here and do the predictions, which normally you come on and give them yourself live on stream, you have to be a Platinum Rambler, and it's open to every Platinum Rambler that we have. So if there's any that want to get in touch that are in the chat and let us know that they'd like to come on and have a go, and they haven't had a go before, or even if they have had a go before and they want to come back on, let us know and we'll try and sort out and get you on as we go forward in the rest of the season.
We'll even let Russ back on, who actually got the highest points total for a Platinum Rambler, which we said we were never going to allow him back on because of that, because it's an unfair advantage to them. But yeah, everybody's welcome. All the Platinum Ramblers are welcome. It's another little thing that we try and do to thank them for their support. Just get the last few comments in before we get off, pal. Phillips and Bamford are good mates, says Michael, and from the Leeds days, and he knows Rothwell and Hjelde will help the lads settle in at Bramall Lane. It certainly will. Certainly will. It makes complete sense. It allows them to hit the ground running, which is what we need. Grim Plays says, great stream, guys. Agree with your rankings. Thank you, mate. James says it's 2-0 Millwall for him. He also goes 1-0 Sheffield United, 2-1 Birmingham, and 2-1 Bournemouth. And he's gone Coventry 4-0. So I've got all yours in there, pal. Rothwell, 2 back-to-back promotions, says Michael, in the Southampton and team that beat Leeds. And the final 2 seasons ago and following season played a crucial part in helping Leeds gain promotion from last season. He did. That's fair to say. I think it'll be close, 2-1 or 2-2 Wrexham and Millwall. Yeah, it will be a close game. Birmingham 1-0, says Grim Place. Hey up, Lee. Hope you're well, pal, says Vibes by Spencer. And Jimmy, of course, up the blades.
I think it's Spencer, who I used to work with many, many years ago, and he's a cracking lad. You were in the army for 20-odd years, I think.
Very good. Well, thank you for joining us, Spence. Appreciate it, pal. And Vodka Rob finishes off tonight by saying, I was going to say 3-0 Cov, but Oxford always managed to find a goal, so I'm thinking 3-1 now. Right, very good. And thank you to everybody for joining us tonight. I'm going to pass it over to my mate to see us off tonight.
Just thank you very much to everybody for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed the therapy session as much as I had, because I needed it, let me tell you. It's always nice at the end of the week to just come on and talk football with your friends and have you guys joining with us. So thank you very much, and hopefully we'll see you all next week.
Top man. Cheers all.